All right, so it is 5:15 on Monday, October 27th, so I'll call to order this meeting of the New Ulm Human Rights Commission. The first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from our 9/22 meeting. Those are attached. If everybody could review, let me know if there's questions, comments, or changes.
Oh, that's okay.
Everybody goes through them. Any questions or comments at all?
No, I would make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
A second?
I'll second.
All approve aye? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion to approve the minutes passes. Second item on the agenda is the budget report, also attached. On review, we have 57% of our budget left for the year, so about $4,000, a little more than that. You'll see all of the things that we paid for so far this year. Let me know if there's any questions. We don't need a motion on that. Looks like we have a significant portion of our budget still remaining. Then next, events committee, the HRC sponsored event. So the next thing we have coming up is the Human Rights Award. There's a review of last year's information for any changes. There's a nomination form in the press release. Last year, we put the press release out on November 15th. So the nomination form is just a simple form. Last year, we had the deadline of December 13th. We can change that this year if needed. That is I'll look at what day of the week it is.
15th?
The deadline for submission we had is the 13th, which is a Saturday this year. So I think it was obviously probably a Friday last year. And then we put the press release out on the 15th of November. And the press release is attached as well. So we gave it about a month from when we put the press release out to when it was due.
Do we feel like that was enough time last year?
I feel like we did get nominations last year. I think the struggle is always just making sure it gets seen. So I think it's probably enough, in my feeling, enough time. I just don't know if how we can kind of promote that so it gets seen by people.
Did you go on KNUJ or anything last year?
No, not for that, which we certainly could again.
They're usually looking for something, I think, for the community
Yeah,
report. Or I shouldn't say usually. I don't know, but it seems like it would
Yeah,
fit.
I'd certainly be willing to do it and talk about it on KNUJ.
Did we put it in the newspaper last year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We put it in as a press release. Any changes? So the press release basically just has, every year we have this individual or organization selected. We're looking for nominations. Kind of describes the mission of human rights and then who to send a nomination to. So I guess that's the first piece. Are we okay with this press release? And obviously we'd have to update the year from a deadline.
Yeah, that all looks good.
Other feedback at all on the press release? And then what do we want the deadline to be this year? I think if it gets too long. I mean, I feel like we don't want it to be too long, but we don't want it to be too short. It's kind of a fine line.
If a month has worked in the past, roughly a month has worked in the past, then
And like you said, we could probably do a little bit better job of promoting it, just to make sure it gets seen other places other than the newspaper.
Did he have a social media account?
Yes, and we could ask for it to be shared on that. Yep. And we can't remember. We may have last year. I'd have to go back and look. I just can't remember last year if we shared it on the city's social media page. I feel like we probably did, but I can't say for sure.
are we able to write a letter to the editor for the paper? I know we put it in a press release, but
We could, yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that's a high visibility
Yeah.
area of the newspaper.
Yeah, we absolutely could do that. That, if we're going to do it from the Human Rights Commission, I believe that needs like a separate motion that we're going to write a letter to the editor with the information about the Human Rights Award. I believe it needs to have a motion. It needs to be approved if it's going to be a letter to the editor written by the commission, if I remember correctly, which is completely fine, but I just want to make sure.
I would entertain a motion
Okay.
that a letter is written to the editor of the New Ulm Journal on behalf of the Human Rights Commission, outlining the submission process for the Human Rights Award.
Do we have a second?
I would second that.
Okay, all approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any other discussion on that motion? All approve, say same sign? Or all
It's a Monday.
opposed, same sign. That motion passes, so we will, the Human Rights, or the HRC sponsored events committee can put that together on behalf of the Human Rights Commission. The deadline date, what are we thinking?
I think going with, similar to what we had last year, a month is good. It's a good chunk of time, to be on people's minds, but not so long that they kind of forget about it. They see it, they have
with
time to,
holidays.
yeah,
Yeah.
time to write something, submit it. Yeah, and people are thinking about, people that are doing good in the community around that time of year anyway. So,
Just looking at the calendar here, so the 12th of December is a Friday, the 15th is a Monday, the 19th is another Friday. So if we want to put the press release out about the same time, like the 15th or so of November, then a month would be, do we want to go exactly a month? Do we want to go plus or minus a few days? The 15th of November is a Saturday, so we wouldn't likely put it in. We probably put it in that week, the 10th through the 14th. I always just send it to Lisa and she puts it in, so it'll be about that week of the 10th through 14th of November that the press release would go in the journal.
I would say the 19th of December.
That'd be a motion.
Friday is a good day
Yeah.
for a deadline.
I just noticed that in the press release, it doesn't tell you, it tells you where to pick up a nomination form, but it doesn't suggest where to put it or where to take it to. Am I missing it?
It says at the bottom that
Nominations,
Yeah, you're
the
right.
deadline is December
Oh.
13th, but it doesn't tell you, do you take it to Lisa's office or
Yeah,
is there a
it's a good
box
call.
somewhere or where?
Yep. That
So,
is a good call out.
so
Definitely add that. Okay. So we have to update that. Is there a motion on the date of the deadline for the award? Of the 19th of December?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. And then on the press release, so we noted that change. Any other changes you guys see? Other than we'd have to change the date on the press release. And if nobody sees any additional changes, I would entertain a motion to approve that with the discussed changes.
And this is essentially the same it's been for years and
Correct.
years.
Yep.
so move.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
All approve, say aye.
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 For discussion, Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. So that brings us to the Education Committee report. So a review of the Living Without Limits Session 1 on visual impairment, which occurred on October 13th, and then plans for the next session.
Yeah, I guess I can speak to it. It went amazing. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's well worth your time. I thought it was really, really impactful. The panel was great. We had a wide variety of people on it. Honestly, it was all kinds of voices. Didn't have a ton of attendance actually there in the library, but I think we're talking, it has over 200 views now on New Cat, so somebody's watching it.
Good.
5 of them were me. No, just kidding. But honestly, it really couldn't have gone better. I don't know.
I thought it
And
went
Kristen
very
were in
well.
the audience. Yeah.
And I heard comments from a couple of people that I know that went, that thought it was just, they were surprised. They thought it was really interesting
Yeah.
and well done, and I thought it was really well organized.
Yeah, from the committee, the questions you guys prepared for them, and they were really good. Just covered a wide variety, and just kind of going back and forth and asking questions and starting at different points. I thought that was amazing. It was really good. It was very educational, just a really good experience. So hopefully people are continuing to watch it. Feel free to. I've been sharing it, so feel free to share it just to try and get it out there because I think. It was just really well done. So kudos to the committee for putting that together.
And where do people watch it?
It's on. So there's a link, and it's actually on YouTube. So
The New Cat channel. I can have a link, or I can send you a link. I think Lisa sent out the link to everybody, and she also shared it. I asked her to please share it with the Park and Rec Commission, the Safety Commission, because there were relevant issues related to those things brought up by the panelists. And I think planning,
like city.
yeah, city planning. And so she was going to share it with the admins of those commissions and just leave it to them to distribute as they felt they should. We did, I think, invite them. We went on KNUJ. We put signs up around town. It was on the city Facebook page. I mean, I shared it on Facebook. I think there's probably ways we could promote it better next time, although I'm not totally sure what they are. Maybe a letter to the editor again. I honestly don't know. I think that's probably a good way to get attention. But I was really grateful. It was a very inexpensive event. We thank you notes, some refreshments, and that was it. The library put together a collection of books. Monica, one of the panelists, she brought in some of her resources. There's a lot of things I didn't even know, like you can get talking prescriptions, like talking medication bottles, and that's like a free service some pharmacies offer. So, a lot about independent living. I don't know, it was great. Just the panelists were amazing. So I was really happy.
Congratulations. That's
Oh,
awesome.
thanks. It was fun. So I think we need to now plan our next session. We haven't had any dates picked out, but I think now that we've done the planning and it went well, I mean, we're kind of going to wait to see how this one went and see what we needed to tweak. And I don't think there's a lot to tweak in terms of maybe a little bit on the questions, but and some advertising, but not really much in terms of kind of how we set it up. Would you agree, Deb? I mean, you're on the committee.
Yeah, I thought it went well. Something I think we should take from this one was the variety of the panelists.
Yes.
The young one, male, female, different levels of the disability. I think that's part of what made it
Agreed.
really
Very different
impactful.
experiences. Like some had always had vision impairment, some
Right.
developed. It was just
Right.
it was a really good variety.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the panelists mentioned how she lost her job when she developed blindness. And I thought, we don't have to deal, now there's protections in place for that. And it kind of resonated with me because, and one other thing they spoke to a lot, I think what was so great is the panelists kind of played off of each other. So a lot of them mentioned challenges in school. Well, Colton he's 11 years old, 10 or 11 years old. He's in 5th grade, and he and his mom were talking about all the accommodations now that are available and, how different that is. And so I think that was kind of a nice pull through of that theme. But yeah, I don't know, Deb, so you took notes. Is that something, we can discuss
Yeah,
that as a
absolutely.
committee because that was really the intent, right? What we don't know. So let's ask the people who can tell us.
Well, I don't know if I wrote all of them down, but I tried real hard. Somebody mentioned louder mics. There must be things that happen here that, I haven't been to maybe, but they need to make sure that when there's speakers that it's.
Yeah, I can ask NewCat about that. So the mics that the panelists had, they pick up on camera for the recording, but they don't project within the room.
Okay. Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if that was that night or if that was something that they were talking about in other places too, that people don't always think about making sure that
No, I
you can
mean,
hear well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there was that, and then more adaptive programs and opportunities for younger children especially. Bus schedules in Braille. I think we kind of talked about
yeah, that
that
was
one
a Carl.
time.
Carl had that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the audible cross signals need to be louder, which
Yes.
I've been listening to them since I heard that, and yeah, you can't really hear them very well because of
Over the
trucks and
traffic,
things.
or if you have
Yeah.
idling trucks
Yeah.
or something, then you really can't hear them very well.
And then I had written down voice options on phone, not just numeric, and I'm not really sure exactly what
So
that
like, you say you call and it says press 1 to
Oh,
speak to,
okay, okay.
but if you can't see your phone,
Right, right.
it should be
okay.
press 1 or say 1. I don't know if our city, if the phone menu, so I think that's something we can follow up on.
And then there was a suggestion that when we have actual events, it would be nice to have a few people that would be guides to point out food trucks, to point out bathrooms,
Yeah.
all those sorts of things that you don't want to just walk up to somebody you can't see or whatever and don't know and ask, so. And then also, for the community, the suggestions were more instructions and awareness to the public somehow. And so that'd be a discussion the committee could do. They talked about lack of transportation out of town, like over to Mankato, up to the Twin Cities. There was some complaint about the pedestrian crossings, that people don't always abide by the fact that, well, if there's a pedestrian within the crosswalk, don't run over them. Seems,
Scary enough when you can see,
Right.
yeah.
and if you can't, you're
Yeah.
really at the mercy of, depending on drivers, to do what the law is,
Yeah.
which is to stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk. And that's something we talk about on Safe Routes to Schools, which I'm also on a lot.
And then also on crosswalks, having more talking crosswalks. They find those useful. And then something that I've been paying attention to now is the idea that no difference between the sidewalk and the street. There's those little bumps, but depending on your shoes, you don't necessarily feel those. And so they thought that should be more obvious somehow.
They mentioned downtown specifically, right?
Pardon?
They mentioned downtown specifically, and I think what they were saying is the strip of the kind of textured surface that delineates it is so narrow that you might not, even with a cane,
That's
you might
true.
miss it because it's not, it's
Yeah,
not deep
yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
So you might step over it entirely without ever really hitting it with your cane.
Yeah, and with it slanted, they don't know.
Yeah.
They actually hit the street itself. So, okay, and then they also mentioned things that were hanging or impeding the sidewalk.
Yes.
Branches and various bushes and snow piles.
Yeah, and that was a good call out too of like in the winter, the snow, like we can see it if we can see somebody hasn't shoveled, but maybe that's just good. And I don't know how to do that, but education to the community of this are additional reasons why it's important. There's lots of reasons why it's important, but here's another reason as to why things like that are important.
So is there a way that we as a commission are going to pass these to whoever they need to be passed to? Because we shouldn't just say, well, these were the
I agree.
comments, we need
Yeah.
to do something about them,
Yeah.
So I don't know who we necessarily would be talking to, so.
I think it was good. We sent it to all the relevant like city commissions who can take action on some of those things, right? Like
Did
planning
you send you haven't seen the suggestions?
No,
so-
not yet.
Not those
Yeah,
suggestions.
so we can write that up as a subcommittee. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, where it should go to
Where
like
it should
the
go, yeah.
safety committees and different things.
Oh, those are
within the
other things, I
city.
think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know they mentioned also the sidewalks where maybe one section is bumped up from tree roots.
Right.
Or,
Oh, they are, yeah.
which we're all working on that as a city. You see a lot of sidewalk that are spray painted orange.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was good. Anything else you remember?
I think I mean, you did a really good job taking notes.
Yeah, thanks.
Nothing else off the top of my head really stuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can include these points in the meeting notes too to see if
That's a
Lisa
good
has
idea.
any,
Mhm.
Yeah.
proper routes to send.
Yeah.
Suggestions. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it might even be good for us to go to a city commission meeting or one
Or
of these other
wondered-
commissions.
Yeah. Or even, I was thinking, we had talked about this in some of the events, maybe even, and I was hoping the mayor would be here, but she's not. Like the city council, like maybe it might be worth going to the city council and getting on the agenda and just being like, hey, this is what we've been working on. And we've
Yeah.
had this now series of events. We've had the welcoming week. We have struggled to get a little bit of participation from other commissions and committees. So maybe it might be worth taking it to the city council and just seeing what kind of support they can provide or what kind of input they might have. Again, like a lot of this is citywide stuff that we could share with the community. So maybe they could help too. So we could ask Lisa how to get on the agenda. I'd be willing to go if there'd be a couple of us for sure willing to go. That'd be,
I would too, provided I
that's a-
can.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
do you guys need like another meeting set up, a subcommittee?
We do, because we
Okay.
need to start planning our next
Okay.
session.
Yeah, we can add that to, perfect. Have Lisa do that. Anything else?
No, thanks again to the subcommittee. I mean, it was the whole group that set that up, so, and made the questions, and I just think we should be proud of how it went.
You guys did a
Yeah,
great job.
absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, other business. So our community needs survey, we've had this out and about at events throughout the year. We kind of felt like we were at a point where we got probably as many responses as we were going to get. So they're attached for review. So there were the 6 questions on the survey. Concerns about equal opportunity to employment, following concerns about equal opportunity to housing, public accommodations include governmental entities and private businesses. I have the following concerns about equal opportunity to these things, concerns about equal opportunity to public services in New Ulm, concerns about education opportunities, and concerns about equal opportunity to other services. And then people's responses are just kind of what they put in the survey.
Yeah.
We kind of discussed like using the survey as a way to kind of inform programs and education and things that we did as a commission.
And I think there weren't a ton of themes
Yeah.
throughout, but I think a couple were housing, which is something we already know, the lack of affordable housing in New Ulm.
Yep.
I don't know that I know there's a tiny home development that's going up and a few
Right.
other initiatives, but
I feel like that one's been pretty well advertised in the city. Like it's been in the paper. I know city council has talked about it. So that's good that people are aware of it.
and then transportation, because I feel like that is a theme that comes up. It came up at this panel that we had. I see it here a few times about public transportation to work. You know, the hours are pretty limited, so if you were working anything other than a day shift, it would be hard to depend on public transportation to get to and from work.
Yeah.
And then we do hear a few times like lack of places for young people to gather. I don't know. I guess these are also things that we could take up similar channels as
Yeah.
we do with
Absolutely.
the panel with the city.
And we can keep it
commissions.
as well too as we're developing things. Like I think some of these things we kind of touched on in your Living Without Limits series, like transportation, accessibility. So maybe that kind of helps too. It's like we are touching on some of those things. We might not be able to do something about everything, but at least we're bringing some awareness to it, which is good. We're giving people a place to voice their concerns.
Well, and if we keep looking back at it every once in a while, and see if we're actually talking about things and either forming a new committee or like the education committee could maybe think of some of those things too, So it's always nice to get suggestions, but then we have to make sure we keep looking at them.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
Anything else on the community needs survey?
I mean, I'll keep this. I did it on Google Forms, so it's there for us to revisit and do. We can tweak it if we want to, or if we want to do follow up. I like that idea too. yeah, I guess there wasn't anything on here that maybe we didn't already kind of know, which is fine. It reaffirms things that are already on somebody's list for attention, whether it's, housing or economic development. I don't know that we can necessarily fix some of this, but
But good to be aware.
yeah.
Well, it's one of those things, maybe, I'm fairly new here, so I don't know who to talk to, but as a commission, talk to whoever the employment agencies are, and say, these are some concerns that came up to our commission. Or like the city department with the sidewalks, those kinds of things. And accessibility, so.
Anything else on that? All right, then on to the legislative update. Does anybody have anything?
I did see today Governor Walz announced $4 million for emergency food. But then again, just to lift up, we have a lot of wonderful resources here in town, and if you need those resources, please take use of them. And if you don't need those resources, please support them. Making sure that we're donating food or money, especially to the food bank, because they can do a lot more with monetary donations. So
Yeah. Food is nice, but they can make the money go a little further sometimes than we can
That's good to know.
yeah.
We know there's efforts for some emergency
yeah.
help being organized, so.
Do people know where to get that? I mean, I'm just now thinking about it, I wouldn't know who to call if my house burned down. And
To
I
get
said,
emergency help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do we advertise where to go to do that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the food shelf has been in the same location for a really long time. It's over on the south side of town. I know where it is. I don't remember what the address
Yeah,
is, but I could drive there.
How would somebody find that if somebody was too embarrassed to go into some office somewhere and say, do you guys have a food shelf here? I mean, how do you find things like that? I haven't ever been in that situation, but I could see where that could be hard.
Yeah, it is in the paper. They do have a Facebook page, but I don't,
Listed.
probably Brown County
Yeah,
Services.
Brown County Family Services, I wonder. It's probably listed.
So what is is
on
it
there.
411, 211? What's the number for, there's it's almost like 911, but it's for,
Information.
it's for information like
Yeah.
that. Oh, I don't know.
Because I think that should be in the paper every so often.
Used to be the
and-
information.
The
line.
information, but there's one that's why I was like, I don't think that's right. It's like 211. There's a number that triages those types of questions, whether it's housing assistance or whatever you need. Now I'm curious. I'll have to look. I don't want to go on record with the wrong number here.
We ought to have somewhere where people can find that, because like I said, there are a lot of people that, if they're in that situation, they're embarrassed already, and they don't want to have to go up to somebody and say, where would this be?
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good
Yeah.
thing to do.
Good call.
Yep. Dave, I imagine most of the churches have some
Yes.
way to.
So the churches in town have pooled money together, so it's at the Brown County Human Services office where we can direct some people, but most of the churches still have some form of gas voucher program or food program. Quite a few of the churches now have like the little free libraries that have some quick staple foods. But I'm still really worried about the next
Yeah,
few months.
no, for
that
sure.
There's going to be a lot of people who are in a lot of need, and we need to make sure we're doing what we can.
Yeah. It's super easy to go on and donate online.
Yep, I already did.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're able.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else on a legislative update? City Council liaison, David.
There wasn't much going on. I mean, there's plenty going on, but there wasn't much for us. But they did talk a little bit about the affordable housing. They're working on finding better solutions, and they're working on the licensing for all of the tiny homes thing and whatever. They also did talk about sidewalk snow removal, and now I'm thinking it is a good idea for us to put it out there again to the correct committee to say, hey, you can include this as another reason why this is important to our city. It's not just about beautification and whatnot. It's a practical use.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was basically it.
Awesome. So before we do date of next meeting and adjournment, we do have an addendum that was added today. So thank you for patiently waiting. Well, actually, I think I have to adjourn the meeting and then call the next one to order if I read correctly. I lied. I know what I'm doing. So the date of the next meeting is November 24th. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do you have a second? All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So then I will call to order the addendum meeting. So other business. So we have a request from Rebecca Damaris and Justin Gerke. Sorry if I'm butchering names. Okay. Regarding support of the reconciliation ride, which is scheduled for December 23rd through 25th. You guys we have the email attached that you sent here. I don't know if anybody would be willing to speak to the request or if you just want us to read it over. Yeah, do you mind? Yep.
Come to the
Yeah,
mic,
to the mic. That'd be great. I appreciate it.
I don't have to do like I do for the city council where I have to do my address or anything like that, do I? Okay. My name is Rebecca DeMarais, and I appreciate your time. Apologies for the late notice, but this has been something that we've been working on, and we've had, as I said, a little bit more time to plan this year. We are asking for some help navigating some of the things it is that we put together last year. Last year, when the riders came through, it was an awesome opportunity. Colleen here got together a wonderful group of human beings who put together things very quickly, and the riders were so grateful and so thankful that they're excited to come back. But on the subject of reconciliation, we were thinking that there's more that we can do, not just this time of year, but throughout the year. And so we wanted to see what we could do working with the commission to see what other opportunities are there for us. We would like to continue to keep this momentum going with planning things like lodging, transportation, care for horses, but there's other opportunities for community engagement, community connection, because we think that that's the most important thing about this ride from the New Ulm side. We got some feedback last year. They were very scared to come. They were scared. And now they're coming back with joy. And we want to keep that momentum going. And how do we work with other communities alongside of just not only New Ulm, but maybe reaching out with Mankato, reaching out with Marshall, reaching out with other cities along the ride, because we are already planning with them. How do we continue to keep that momentum growing? And there are things that we just don't know what you can offer, what the city can offer. We have questions about things like insurance, things that nobody has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so how do we get that ahead of people? How do we get that ahead for ourselves so that's not something that they have to worry about, so that when they come, everything's taken care of. We get to work on the things it is that we need to work on instead of worrying about things like insurance or care for horses or care for just general things. So.
Have you met with city council already this year, or was
Nope.
that not this year? Okay.
Nope.
Oops. Did you meet with them last year?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. It's just for background. I think I kind of like reviewed. So awareness and support, sponsoring the vet, connecting our group with others. I mean, I think we could probably do a lot of that. Some of the other stuff like the insurance, the like logistics of it, we can't help with, but we certainly could help with some of the things, like you said, awareness, support, possibly sponsoring. kind of anything like we could brainstorm to think
Yeah,
of. I
we
think
were-
it's super important. Like personally, I think it's super important. It's definitely something that the commission could support and help with.
Yeah, no, we would love that because even whatever you can assist us in, even if it's just a matter of direction, somebody sent me a grant this week that I was like, ooh, cool, except for we don't have a 501c.
Yeah.
So I can't write that.
Yeah.
But, maybe I can find somebody who can to write that on behalf of that to be able to. So these are some of the things it is that we're running into, that we have all of these great ideas, but no way to maybe execute them or maybe find different channels to be able to say, hey, we can't do this, but maybe we can do this, this, or this.
Thinking about doing things other times of the year besides the reconciliation ride, or are you just talking about things happening during that period of the ride?
Yes. We
Yes.
are thinking about trying to look at what that is. This is going to be our second year. And so there was a lot of things that we talked about that we could do this year to make it better, not only just for the ride, but for the year moving forward. Like maybe we go out to South Dakota, at some point in time to have a kickoff meeting to, instead of them always coming to us, we can also show them that, hey, we're willing to travel for you too, because those costs get to be very expensive. And, so to continue that awareness, but also to raise that money for that, because not everybody else might be able to travel out there either, but to provide funds for that or some kind of stipend for things like that to continue growing that, so that yes, it's through the year versus just the ride.
I think like Kristen said, we definitely can help with sponsoring the event. I'm speaking for the committee, kind of out of turn, but potentially. But in terms of finding a 501c3 to like write grants and just broader support, I imagine you could get under. So I learned there's over 200 nonprofits in this town. I learned that last week. So I'm sure you could get under one of them. Like, for example, One New Ulm is a nonprofit that you could then write this grant under and get some more support that way. So that's just one suggestion I have.
Awesome, thank you.
Are you planning on meeting with the city council or trying to get on their agenda at all? I would suggest that might be something you might look into for some of the logistics things
Okay.
that we can help with. They meet twice a month, correct? Twice a month, right? Yes. So that might be something I'd suggest. I'm just trying to think, or any other, and they could be to have resources for what commission might be a good one for you guys to partner with as well, for some of those things. So I would definitely suggest that. We could, if we would need a motion from the committee, so if we wanted to look at like how we could support or sponsor, we could have a motion and then we could do a subcommittee meeting with your group and kind of just go through what we could provide, what we could help with. Like even I'm thinking off the top of my head, like KNUJ or a letter to the editor or helping promote, things like that we could work with you guys on for sure. Any other thoughts, you guys? I'm just kind of brainstorming.
Yeah. I mean, our purview as the Human Rights Commission is to ensure full participation in the community, regardless of your protected group. So we have to kind of think about, is the ask does that align with that mission? So think about that. If you come up with a specific ask for us, that's what we really are tasked to do. That's what our funding is there to support. So it's not that we don't support this idea. We think it's great, obviously. Got a Human Rights Award last year for this. So we do, but we just have to be mindful of what our actual task is as a commission. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could be things like education. Maybe we bring in a speaker to talk about, race relationships because of this history you're mentioning. I mean, this has been 150 some years. 163 years, I can't math. And still there's still this generational fear of this community from certain
And just
people.
the conversation, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, those are the kinds of things I think the commission could easily
Right.
support.
Like
It'd
the
be
educational
right.
umbrella.
Yep, and just kind of understanding why are we still talking about this 163 years later? Because it's still important, and here's why. And those are the things I think this group could could support, whether it's funding a speaker, something like that. So I think keep that in mind.
Sorry.
I was going to say, so just to summarize what you just said, then basically any of our asks, we have to bump it up against what you're,
Yeah,
Okay.
because we get allocated money from the city to carry out what we've
Okay.
been tasked with. So we have to be stewards of that and making sure that
Absolutely.
we're supporting our mission. So that
I
helps
was-
direct
oh,
it.
sorry. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
I was told that there is someone from that group that speaks and does an educational talk every year. Is that true?
Can I talk here? Can you hear me?
Yeah. It's just for the TV that they want it.
No, that is part of our second wave of planning. The whole idea of this is reconciliation. And for 20-some years, they've been coming through this area saying, I'm sorry, in their language for the ride and during the hardships they've endured, to say that they're looking to make peace. And so we sort of feel it's on our side now to sort of respond to that. Yeah. And part of that, a lot of people, because it's been so long, it's like carrying something, for all those years, and when does the healing ever start? So and I think it begins with education. I asked one person last year, and it was, nope, like this, and I thought, whoa. It was surprising to me that it was so strong, automatic. And so I think when we look at, they showed a film last year that was so wonderful, and if you're ever looking for something to watch at home, this film called 38+2, it's their side of the story, but it's most of the story, but there's still more to be added.
Sure.
And so we are hoping this year now, as Rebecca was saying, to continue it through the year and going to the civic organizations. We'd be happy to come here and talk about what we know and what we've learned. And hopefully through education, people can hear both sides of the story and say, oh, I didn't understand that. Like if I could say to you, it wasn't the Native Americans' fault, it wasn't the people of New Ulm's fault, it was our government's fault for not paying their dues, and their debts, and creating starving children and parents who became enraged. So we need to look at the bigger picture instead of, well, my great-grandmother was hurt and killed, and my cousins and all that. We need to broaden our vision. So that's what our aim is this year to do.
and to work through those connections. I think that working hand in hand with people, side by side with people, it's easier to have those conversations face to face than it is, even with some of those, if there was an activity, we've got, like I said, there's all sorts of ideas that we would love to help with education on all of this to make this really a part of New Ulm, because this is a part of New Ulm. Everywhere you go, you see this is a part of New Ulm, and we're just looking to add, as Colleen so eloquently said, yes and to all of what happened, and to just give it that opportunity to breathe, and then from that part, see what holistically grows out of that, because I do believe that through some of that connection and through that education and through that eyeball to eyeball contact, it's a lot easier to have some of those things just naturally grow up versus having an insistence for anybody, because nobody likes a forced apology. It's inauthentic. Nobody likes giving them. Nobody likes receiving them. I don't think that that's the whole entire, that's not the point of this ride. They really want to, they're just as lost as we are in terms of going, what does that actually look like? And those are the conversations that they want to have with people along the way.
And to face their fears. I asked Wilfred, who's the leader of this, because we were standing on 5th Street, and I remember the ambush that the Native Americans had done when the people had come back from the search of the outlying areas after the first raid to see if anybody needed help, and it hit me strongly that here they were coming in peace at the place where this terrible thing happened, So there's just power in it, and it draws big emotions. It drew big emotions in me. But I think we need to learn how to channel that and ask, and dare to ask our questions. Become vulnerable enough to say, you know, this is how I've always felt. I don't like to look at Native American people. I don't see goodness or whatever that is that they see. So that's the piece that we're looking at. And they were scared because I just asked him. He said, I was so nervous. But he said, since then, he has talked to the people in the Santee Nation down in Nebraska, the ones up in Canada, the ones that were expelled from this region. They went there, they went there, they went South Dakota. And he said the energy and the acceptance is very positive in New Ulm. They were surprised. And so they were pleased. And so that word is out that it'd be a wonderful way to be thought of instead of a city to be feared to go into, because you never saw a Native American in this community before. I remember when Raymond Lucker died, he was a friend of the Lower Sioux, and one person, Bernell Wabasha came to his funeral, and she wouldn't come in and wait at my house when there was a break in the ceremonies because she was an older woman, because I was right inside. So for us to be able to turn that and show a welcome, and this was a great thing that we did last year. It was so amazing. I get shivers thinking about it. So.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee?
No, I love that. I think it's a very worthwhile cause. Can, what she said, that verbiage that she said that we want them to think about, can they get that somehow? Or where do they find that?
Just the human rights, like the mission.
Sure.
Yeah, it would be under the human rights mission. I wonder if it would be valuable for you guys to, if you'd be willing to just meet with the subcommittee that does the, so I'm thinking the events, but the not HRC sponsored, the other events committee to just kind of partner to see what we could do together, even if it's just like an education thing.
That would be wonderful, yeah. We have our next committee meeting this Saturday.
Okay.
And so however quickly.
And
that needs
Lisa
to
has
happen.
since you reached out to Lisa, she has your contact information.
Yes.
So we'll have them, kind of put you guys together with the non-HRC sponsored events committee. We can start there and just see what we can do in a partnership just around education or promotion or kind of whatever we can do and kind of go from there if that works for you guys. Awesome. I think we probably need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to partner with the events committee.
Perfect. Do you have a second?
Second.
All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. So yeah, I think that's a good starting off point. We can just kind of see what we can do. And I would suggest definitely reaching out to city council, AC, possibly law enforcement, even like he said, One New Wall might be a nonprofit you could partner with, or even just to ask them, just kind of reach out and see what resources there are. But we can certainly help with some of that for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to.
Wait.
Oh, you're here. Sorry, I didn't look. Go for it.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I just wanted clarification, if that's all right. I know last year they worked with the State Patrol. Has your committee done that? Because I thought that was, that was wonderful.
I thought he was
Okay.
gonna come here early enough to get the permit
Okay.
today.
I had just wanted to clarify that because, you know, generally when they're coming through, you know, I serve as the point of contact for local law enforcement. But, you know, as far as jurisdictionally, the State Patrol really works well because they're throughout the state of Minnesota. So they started in South Dakota, but, you know, once they hit the Minnesota border, they can take them the entire way.
And I will have to just give the kudos to your department because it was a holiday and they left us with the person in charge, all these other numbers I never knew about. And if anything went on and they kept riding, I was so scared about those horses out at that fairground that somebody would be stupid, you know, and do something naughty. And they kept the extra patrol, so I'm so grateful, so grateful.
So, yeah, that's great. So if we can, you know, I'd certainly be willing to work as the point of contact for local law enforcement and talk with your committee, maybe get updates and
Sure.
if there's anything we can do. Thank you.
Thank you for. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. This addendum is adjourned. Thank you.